it's nonstop, and there's so much information you can digest.
Because I'm in, like I said, IT anyway, I don't think people realize how much the blockchain and IT have in common. The blockchain is basically just IT. So a lot of these things that I'm seeing on the blockchain, they're interest to me, and they're things that I do in my spare time anyway. I look them up, kind of like how I look up IT stuff. So even when I'm not at work or before I got into IT, I would try to build applications or build websites because, at heart, I'm still just a nerd. I'm just a computer nerd that just likes to do IT stuff.
You're tuned to the ArCast, where we talk about the blockchain on the ArCast and how your data remains. It's the ArCast, where ArDrive is the topic, censorship-resistant permanence. Yeah, we got it. Hello, friends. It is your host, Andrew, back again with another episode of the ArCast. This is episode 13 coming at you. This week, we've got a really wonderful YouTuber, Archie Crawford, who talks a lot about the functional utility of Arweave and why he loves ArDrive as a way to use Arweave. So it was a really, really good interview. Some great background on his career in cybersecurity and how he creates his YouTube content. So Archie, thank you so much for being on the show. We've got some exciting announcements this week. We are announcing the ability to upload whole folders, which is pretty exciting, and our new sync progress bar. So for those of you who love uploading to Arweave via ArDrive, stay tuned for this excitement. And speaking of ArDrive, we are launching our third user rewards program. That's right, Inferno is starting this week, and I just dropped a video about it, which explains it. But if you want to learn more about how you can be rewarded for saving your files permanently, check out ardrive.io/inferno. And we talk all about this exciting new program. So let's get into it. This is my interview with Archie Crawford. We got right to it, right to the main topics, and be sure to check out his YouTube channel. All right, here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to the new episode of the ArCast. And this week we have a very exciting guest. We got Big Arch, whose YouTube channel had an interesting feature on ArDrive. And this man has had a really interesting long career in finance, in tech, in security. And we've got a lot to talk about. So first of all, Big Arch, thank you so much for making time to be on the show. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Some of your professional background is in cybersecurity. Is that right?
I got a master's degree from Liberty University in cybersecurity. And I've actually been working in cybersecurity for a while. I worked for American Express. I worked for Dell. I worked for some companies doing security engineering.
You were telling me about this interesting ransomware story.
Basically, what they do is they send phishing emails, and people click on those emails. And when they do that, they encrypt your entire network. And when they encrypt your entire network, no one can get on the network. And what they'll do is ask for money. And if you don't pay that money, they won't unlock your network. So sometimes, companies will get mad and be like, you know what, I'm not paying that. So in Atlanta, in 2018, ransomware happened to the city of Atlanta, and they asked for $52,000. Atlanta said, no, I'm not paying that. So what they did was they reconstructed their whole network. It ended up costing them $2.6 million to reconstruct the network. But if you know anything about IT, you know that they always tell you to have backups. But a lot of times, companies don't pay attention to that. They don't get backups. So now that's the only copy that they had. It's encrypted. They have to get rid of it, and they have to replace the whole network, and it costs a lot of money. But if they did have something like Arweave, then they could have had that backup forever, and they can always revert back to that backup, and they don't have to pay that money every time.
It's something that can be avoided.
I really found this out when I was doing an application called Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch is an open source application where you store logs, and people can, when you're doing troubleshooting in the IT space, you need a application to go on to review the logs to see what happened so you can troubleshoot it. So when you have these type of logs, you need somewhere to store them. So when you store them, you do it in a way where the last, say, 30 days is hot storage. That means you can get to those logs really fast. But then you also have, after that 30 days, you may have 60 days the next 30 days after that, that is warm storage. It takes a lot longer to actually get to those logs. You may have to get them from a zip file or something like that, and then bring them in and look through that zip file. But then after that, you also have a cold storage. And that cold storage, that could be stored at Amazon or something like that. And then you have to go to them, pay them to give you that storage and a zip file probably. Then you have to search through that zip file to find whatever you're looking for in those logs. With Arweave, I see that the storage side, is being very beneficial when it comes to Web3. Because I know for us, when we did that, we had to keep storage for so long for certain types of information. So like for financial information, it has to be stored for, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's like 7 years or something like that. And then the same thing with medical information. If you have medical information on people, it has to be stored for so many years. So when you do that, they have to pay for that. So that's why I see that, Arweave can really come in and help these companies, do this cheaper, a whole lot cheaper than currently what they're charging. Especially because right now they're charging month by month. There is no one-time fee they store forever. It's month by month. Sometimes they can end up paying $250,000 a year just to store data.
It's nonstop, and there's so much information you can digest.
Because I'm in, like I said, IT anyway, I don't think people realize how much the blockchain and IT have in common. The blockchain is basically just IT. So a lot of these things that I'm seeing on the blockchain, they're interest to me, and they're things that I do in my spare time anyway. I look them up, kind of like how I look up IT stuff. So even when I'm not at work or before I got into IT, I would try to build applications or build websites because, at heart, I'm still just a nerd. I'm just a computer nerd that just likes to do IT stuff. So it was easy for me to kind of get into it, and I didn't really realize what I was doing until some friends around me told me, like, hey, you should start a YouTube page because, they see that there's money in it. So then people started asking me a lot of questions. And when it comes to the part of, like, when I see something, I explain it, I think that also happened naturally to me just because I'm used to seeing this stuff because it's the same thing as being on a network. So when you think about like the Web3 and like how these applications are there, it's just like having the regular internet on a server and you just have an application on that server and then that server has storage. These are the same things that's currently on our internet. So they're familiar to me.
What I really like about your videos is you'll do screenshots of the sites and the different information about the projects, and you'll read it and you'll interpret it and you'll explain it. So it's like you're teaching your audience about the pros and cons of these projects.
So it's like you kind of tell by listening to the conversations of different YouTubers what they do or what part of crypto they're closer to.
So if you want to get in touch with Big Arch, again, the email is acegroupatl@gmail.com. That's ACEGRUP@gmail.com. Follow him on YouTube, Big Arch and Money, and Twitter, he's Big Arch 757. And we just wanted to thank you for all the love you've shown Arweave and ArDrive, and it's really cool to see someone doing a lot of work in the space to educate people. So I want to thank Big Arch for being on the ArCast today. Anything else that you wanted to mention or any shout outs that we didn't get to yet?
No, I definitely want to thank you guys. Like I told you before, like I was really excited when you reached out to me about this podcast. I just want to tell you guys thank you. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed the show and I had a great time.
We will we'll keep following and plugging your social media. Thanks for doing this, and we'll talk again soon, hopefully. Thank you, Big Arch. An efficient, beautiful interview. We got right to the point. Thank you for your clear, succinct answers and your wonderful perspective on security, permanent storage, and how the blockchain and engineering have a lot in common. We will be back in 2 weeks with more exciting interviews right here on the ArCast. I'm Andrew. Know before you stow. Be sure to check out the Discord for all the exciting conversations surrounding the ArDrive experience, and keep your eyes peeled for Inferno. Thanks again. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.